What is going on, chat, man? We are back, and today we are reacting to making the case for the 1989 Pistons, man. This was highly anticipated and highly recommended, man. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. On my Jordan journey, I truly did not like the Bad Boy Pistons, just for the sole fact that, they're just trying to hurt people, and that's their way of winning the games, bro. And I don't respect that. But maybe today that might change my mind with this video, man. But with that being said, let's get straight into the video. And if you guys are new to my channel, you like classic / old NBA content, man, hit the subscribe button, man, and join the crew. But with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Yes, sir.
Inspired team. Every champion deserves credit, but the question on my mind is, who's the greatest team of all time?
Listen, okay, before he starts saying, maybe they're the best team of all time, blah, 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 it's just that their big man, I forgot the name of their big man, bro, but he always fouls. He always fouls, and he truly didn't care about, his opponents. Or even Isiah Thomas. I heard that, their big man, oh, his name is Bill Laimbeer. Yeah, Bill Laimbeer actually injured Isiah Thomas and caused him to retire. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I know. So going into this, man.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Okay.
The Bad Boys. Perhaps the most notorious collection of bruisers and tough guys ever to play.
Before we get into the Bad Boys, right? Why do they actually like being called the Bad Boys? Because obviously they like to do bad stuff on the court, but why did they get called the Bad Boys also, chat?
Play basketball. If you lived through it and you weren't from Detroit, odds are you hated the Pistons.
Yeah.
Not just because they defined what a physical
and
brand of defense looked like, but because they also kicked your team's ass at one point or another. They finished the regular season with a 63-19 record, lost only 2 playoff games, and boasted one of the vaunted defenses in basketball history. They ran 9 or 10 men deep, led by Isiah Thomas and Joe Dumars in the backcourt, Bill Laimbeer in the middle, Dennis Rodman, Adrian Dantley, and later Mark Aguirre as the forwards, Rick Mahorn at the 4 spot, and Vinnie Johnson, John Sally, and James Edwards coming in as reserves.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get one thing straight. The Pistons are villains. What else would you call a team that threw more elbows, dealt more hip checks, and delivered more hard fouls than anyone? Watch any basketball documentary. Listen to any old interview. It's impossible to arrive at a different conclusion. Everyone hated them. Pippen, Jordan, Bird, McHale, Parrott.
Did they actually genuinely go into games thinking yo, I'm really gonna just beat this guy up, bro? Oh my gosh.
Worthy, reporters, announcers, commentators, executives, and fans alike pined for the heads of the Pistons. They were the villains. You might point out the fact that Bill Laimbeer goes down as perhaps the most hated athlete who never did anything illegal. He bumped, shoved, pushed, and
he never did anything illegal. Bro, are you seeing what he did? How was that not illegal? Oh.
jawed against everyone, with special treatment saved for the league's most popular stars. Concerns were raised that his style of play wasn't just physical, it bordered on the intent to injure other players. You might remember the comments made by Rodman and co-signed by Isiah after the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics, in which the two asserted that if Larry Bird were black, he'd be just another good player.
But I'd have to agree with Rodman if he was black.
I don't know if that's disrespect or not. Chad, that seems so disrespectful, bro, though. Oh my gosh.
He'd be just another good guy.
Add in the fact that Isiah had the taste of sour grapes because of his infamous stolen inbounds pass in Game 5, and the Pistons looked downright petulant. Toss in the walkout after the 91 Eastern Conference Finals and a general air of intimidation and lack of sportsmanship from nearly the entire roster, and you could say that the reputation of the bad boy Detroit Pistons preceded them. That they were and have always been the villains. And you would be right. And that, my dear viewer, is exactly what the Pistons wanted. It's what makes them great villains. and what makes them a great basketball team. This team is layered. On the outside, you have the infamous physicality, the bully ball, the bad boy namesake. This fed into an entirely intentional and calculated strategy in which the Pistons sought to contest their opponents.
You know what's kind of crazy to me though too, chat? That they weren't even afraid to do this to the NBA legend superstars, like Larry Bird, probably Magic Johnson. I didn't see Magic Johnson get bullied by them yet, but probably Magic Johnson, Jordan, like they weren't afraid of those guys, man. It's like, wow, they're not just doing it to like normal players, they're doing it to every guy, man.
Mentally, they wanted their opponents more preoccupied with where the next hit was coming from than with winning the basketball game. And you'll notice that through all the infamous scraps that the Pistons were ever involved in, they rarely threw the first punch. Agitate, don't retaliate. Instigate, don't initiate. None of it would have worked, nor been possible, had the Pistons not been ludicrously talented.
Yeah.
And what brought it all together was the same thing that is at the heart of only the greatest of champions, only the most superlative teams. A deep, genuine, authentic bond and belief in each other. At the heart of the Pistons was the fact that they were a team. The physicality was what it was. Now I don't condone what they did. At times it had an essence of brutality. Basketball is a better sport without it. But it did make possible an improbable championship run at a time when they weren't supposed to be there. It was an approach built almost out of necessity. The 80s belonged to Bird and Magic, and as Michael Jordan began his ascent, it was clear that he would soon inherit the league. No one allocated the time nor the space for.
It's crazy that they kind of squeezed in and won a back-to-back championship run. That's kind of nice, though. I gotta give them props on that.
Blue-collar team from Detroit, without a single player averaging over 20 points, to inject themselves into basketball history. Head coach Chuck Daly and Isiah realized that this team couldn't win by playing the way the Celtics played. They couldn't win playing the way the Lakers played. They didn't have a Michael Jordan. They had to find an edge. And so they exploited the fact that at that time in the NBA, a foul was just a foul. You could get ejected for overtly malicious acts. You could get a technical foul for arguing a call or for technical infractions. But a clothesline was penalized the same way that a reach-in was. To gain an advantage, the Pistons became willing to go where no other team had gone before. They bucked sportsmanship, skipped over gamesmanship, and went to work on their opponent's psyche. Of course, none of this would have mattered. None of the mind games or the shit-stirring would have done the Pistons a lick of good had they not been one of the deepest, most complete teams to ever compete in the NBA. Bill Laimbeer, as we've
Deepest and most complete team to ever play in the NBA? Chat, are we agreeing with that? Are we agreeing with that, though?
Established, was the league's premier antagonist. But his antics overshadow his tremendous defensive abilities, his exceptional rebounding instincts, his peerless durability, and the fact that he remains among the sweetest shooting centers ever. He averaged a 14 and 10 on 50% shooting, despite the fact that he didn't have a post move to speak of in an era that was still predicated on play down low. His quick trigger on his shooting stroke made Laimbeer an essential pick and pop player, something that was nearly as alien in 1989.
He could really shoot like that, chat. Like, he was a really good shooter. Like, I didn't even know that.
As a smartphone. Just as important, he never tried to be something that he wasn't. He knew he wasn't as good as Parrish, or Kareem, or McHale, or Olajuwon. He couldn't dream of competing athletically with the great centers at the time. So, he operated with intent, exploiting position, intelligence, tenacity, and physicality to command the court like a chessboard. He wore the black hat. He winked at the cameras when he knew that millions of fans were screaming at their TV sets. To the world, he provided a face for the bad boy image, a lightning rod for their controversy. To the team, he provided the spirit and the motor for everything they tried to do.
Wow.
Speaking of controversial guys with high motors, Dennis Rodman. Now keep in mind, this was not the Dennis Rodman with the hair and the tats and the high-profile relationships. This version.
Why is he so much different on the Pistons than the Bulls? Like, was he like not like expressing how he really feels on this team, or was he just a different person on this team? Let me know down below.
Of Rodman was young, hungry, and motivated chiefly by his desire to prove that he belonged on a championship NBA roster.
Okay.
His rapid development necessitated a midseason trade that we'll talk about later, but Rodman spent the majority of the year coming off the bench. Despite limited minutes, Rodman averaged nearly a double-double and was a first-team all-defensive selection. The most important thing to know about Rodman is that he cared. He cared a lot. He fought for rebounds.
He cared a lot? But he gives off the vibe on the Bulls that he does not really care. Like, why is he so different on the Bulls than, the Pistons?
Dove for loose balls, took defensive assignments personally, and paid no mind to speed limits. He was full throttle, foot on the gas, at all times. He cried when he won Defensive Player of the Year in 1990. He pumped his fist after taking every charge. Though he wasn't a scorer, young Rodman was an athlete on the level of Shawn Kemp and Charles Barkley and belongs in the Chamberlain, Russell, Moses class of rebounder.
Oh!
At 6'7", he was the quintessential defender in the league. He could be
Oh my god, his defense looks insane! He looks so fast on this team, though.
stuck on anyone, from John Stockton to Scottie Pippen to Robert Parrish. No matchup was too big for him, and he consistently raised his level to that of his opponent throughout his career, whether it was Larry Bird or Shaquille O'Neal. As much as I've enjoyed and will continue to enjoy pushing the villain narrative with these Pistons, the fact is not everyone played rough. In fact, if you didn't know any better, would you believe me if I told you that the player for whom the NBA's annual sportsmanship trophy is named played for the '89 Pistons?
What?
It's true. Since 1996, the player who most exemplifies the ideals of sportsmanship on the court, with ethical behavior, fair play, and integrity, is awarded the Joe Dumars Trophy.
What?
Joe Dumars might not have shared the same attitude as some
Was Joe Dumars like a nice guy on the Pistons?
of the rest of the Pistons, but he was as vital to the team as any player, combining with Isiah to form one of the scariest backcourts you can imagine. As a scorer, he was as well-rounded as anyone in the league. He wasn't a high flyer, but he could attack the basket, make his free throws, swing the ball around, and nail shots from all over the court. As a defender, I think I need only tell you that Michael Jordan cites Dumars as the toughest cover he ever faced in the NBA.
What?
Like Rodman, he was a first-team All-NBA defensive selection, perhaps even more impressive considering he didn't resort to cheap shots. Dumars goes down as one of the more nightmarish two-way matchups ever, capable of torching defenders like Michael Cooper and putting the clamps on even the likes of Michael Jordan. Averaging 27 points a game in the finals on a scorching 57%
27 points per game in the finals? Oh my gosh.
field goal percentage, Dumars' 1989 Finals MVP serves as a testament to the balance of the Pistons and to just how damn good he was. Rick Mahorn stood as a brick wall next to Laimbeer, similarly unafraid to get his hands dirty, set hard screens, grab rebounds, and make his presence known.
Oh!
Vinny, the Microwave Johnson, came off the bench to the tune of
Yeah, who was the most bully of the team? Like, who was the worst on the team? Like, who was always getting in fights on the team?
14 points a game. As his namesake implies, the Microwave could get hot in a hurry and feasted on opposing reserve units. John Sally and James Edwards were players more out of the Joe Dumars mold, in that they weren't complete assholes, but both men played key roles in the team's championship effort. Sally on the defensive end with his hellacious blocks, and Edwards on the offensive end with his unstoppable fadeaway. Leading the show with an incandescent smile that betrayed one of the most competitive minds in professional sports was Isiah Thomas. Spend any amount of time researching Isiah Thomas's basketball.
Was this guy actually that good as he seems, chat? Like, was he really that nice? Like, was he that important, chat? Let me know down below.
Career, and you will hear a number of things over and over. First and foremost, that he remains the best pure point guard of all time. That isn't to say he's the best point guard of all time, But when it comes to what you would want out of a traditional point guard, speed, quickness, vision, passing ability, inside scoring, defense, toughness, leadership, and a dependable jump shot, Isiah checks the boxes as well as any player who has ever played the position. He's on the short list of being one of the only point guards who can say that they were the best player on a championship-winning team, alongside Magic Johnson and Steph Curry. Isiah's stock has always been something of debate, and most of that is his own fault. Of course, the reputation of the team and their ability to make enemies out of everyone did him no favors in the moment. No one wanted to talk about how great Isiah was. They went to bed at night dreaming of Isiah getting rocked by Hulk Hogan.
Are you serious? Like, people genuinely used to think that about him? Like, he was that good, but he was on the most hated team, so people didn't want to say anything about him?
Because he managed to piss off so many stars, when they came together and formed the Dream Team in the summer of '92, Isiah was famously left out. He hasn't done himself any favors in his post-playing career, embarrassing himself as an executive and coach, and prolonging his feud with Michael Jordan by asserting that LeBron James is the greatest player ever. He will always lose the popularity contest. Even people who never saw him play hate him, because the legends of the game hate him. None of this is to make you pity Isiah. When you choose to play like he did and cultivate a reputation that way, you have to live with consequences like this. But those aren't the only reasons Isiah gets discounted. Isiah could take over games at a moment's notice. He did it all the time, which is why his blunder in '87 is even more shocking.
Wow.
Isiah lived for the big moments. But the thing that made him special was that he sought basketball of the highest order. He didn't want to have to take over games. He didn't care about making All-NBA teams or winning MVPs. He wanted to win, and he wanted to win with a team of guys who bought into a culture of accountability and camaraderie. He gave up shots and minutes so that Dumars and Vinnie Johnson could develop. He cultivated the culture like a garden, meticulously tending to its needs, encouraging and ensuring that it grew in all the right ways. In his eyes, a team was a lot harder to stop when you had to worry about 9 guys who could beat you than it was to stop 2 or 3.
Facts!
It's why the team's statistics
I
don't
like that he was a really good leader, though, chat.
jump out at you. They played a style of basketball between the lines. The balance of the Pistons roster, their flexibility and versatility would not have been possible had Isiah not been so willing to sacrifice his own success for the greater good. You might think that's hokey and you might think that's bullshit, but it's true. When you talk about that era of basketball, there are 4 names that matter more than all the others: Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Isiah Thomas. And by the way, Isiah has a winning playoff record against each of those other 3 players. If you want proof of the Pistons culture, look no further than the Adrian Dantley trade. A 6'5" scoring machine that would one day end up in the Hall of Fame. Dantley arrived in Detroit in '87 and immediately made an impact. He gave the team an offensive dynamic that they'd been missing for years and helped propel the franchise to contender status. But by '89, Rodman's development was reaching a level that necessitated that he be on the court at the end of games instead of Dantley. Dantley, a 12-year NBA veteran, was unwilling to make room. So the team traded him for Mark Aguirre. The same Mark Aguirre who was only available on the trade market because he had worn out his welcome in Dallas after conflict with coaches and teammates. You might argue about who was the better individual player between Dantley and Aguirre, but Aguirre came to the Pistons with something to prove. It was made clear to him from day one by Laimbeer and Isiah that he was expected to buy in, to sacrifice for the good of the team, to do what Dantley couldn't. It worked. Aguirre went from averaging...
That is crazy. Like, players really gotta sacrifice their play style for the team to win, you know, and it helps a lot. That's kind of crazy.
Over 25 points a game over his last 5 full Dallas seasons to 15 a game as a Piston in '89. With his incendiary scoring abilities from the post and Rodman's defensive versatility on full display, the Pistons flourished. In the 50 games between Aguirre's first game and the Pistons hoisting the championship trophy, the Pistons went 44-6. They swept Bird Celtics in the first round, swept the Bucks in the second round, fended off Jordan's Bulls in 6 to set up a rematch with the Lakers in the finals, and sauntered their way to a championship sweep against the defending champions. Now I'll be the first to point out that the Celtics were past their prime in dealing with injuries, that Byron Scott missed the finals because of a hamstring injury before Game 1, that Magic was himself hampered by a hamstring injury in Game 2. But the '89 Pistons aren't the greatest team of all time because of who they beat to win their first championship. They're the greatest team of all time because of how they won that championship. The Pistons...
I'm starting to like them a little bit more, but I don't know if I could say the best team of all time. Chat, let me know how you guys feel right now.
Were designed to beat those teams at their peaks. Just because the Pistons got lucky at the same time they were peaking takes nothing away from how good they were in my eyes. What do you want? Do you want a team that can defend in the post? Ask any big man from that period about what it was like to play against Laimbeer, Mahorn, and Sally. Do you want to shut down scoring from the guards? Look no further than the greatest defensive backcourt ever in Isiah and Dumars.
Greatest defensive backcourt ever? Chat, are we really saying this right now? Like, do we really think that Joe Dumars and Isiah Thomas is the best backdoor defensive guards of all time?
If there's any player that's too big for the guards and too quick for the big men, Dennis Rodman is waiting in the wings as one of the most devastating individual defenders that the game has ever seen.
Yeah.
The scoring could come from anywhere. The synergy of the team was such that they would feed those hot hands and usually heat up themselves to crush you in a million different ways from every direction. The scoring disparity between their leading scorer and their ninth man was 11 points a game. That's the same scoring disparity between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen in 1996. They passed brilliantly. They played without ego. They could shoot. They could score inside. They could penetrate. Ironically, the Bad Boys played a very unselfish style of basketball that, were it not for the hostility of their attitude, would have had basketball purists singing their praises.
That's what I kind of like about their team too. They all put a work in all together. Like, everyone had a role they played.
This team had an identity as the villains. They embraced it. It brought them closer together. As the rest of the world got more hostile, the Pistons got closer. To a man, they all speak of each other not as co-workers, but as friends and brothers in arms. Yeah, they were the bad guys, but give me a great villain over a decent hero every day of the week. They're so much more interesting. The best heroes are the ones who have to overcome their flaws, and the best villains are usually the ones with something humanizing about them. Look at Isiah's Game 6 in the '88 finals, the year before this championship team. He was rolling in the third quarter with his team up 3-2 against the Lakers. He was doing everything in his power to launch his team over the finish line. And with his franchise's first championship just 20 minutes away, the unthinkable happened. Fast break situation, streaking down the court, he rolls his ankle.
Oh!
He hits the floor and reaches out, instinctively grasping at the referee as he tries to stomach the pain. His ankle is sprained. Badly. On the bench, he clenches his teeth, summoning every bit of willpower he possesses. The Lakers take advantage and surge back to take the lead. And then...
There's no way! Oh my gosh, bro.
Hobbled and limping, Isiah returns to the game. What follows is one of the gutsiest performances in the history of championship competition.
3.5 remaining in this period. Thomas with a looper scores. Thomas off balance, basket count and a foul as he goes into the first row, and he is still limping. Thomas goes for 3 and hits it. What a third quarter for Isiah Thomas. Now the Pistons with Rodman. 2-on-1. Thomas is up. And Isiah Thomas having an incredible period. He has 35 in the game, 23 in this period. And the Pistons have regained the lead, 23 points. And the shot...
What he's doing this way just got hurt, though. Oh my gosh.
Again by Thomas. It is 81-79. The period is over. Can you imagine the great performance, maybe one of the best we've ever seen in one quarter in NBA Finals history?
Wow.
He finished the quarter with 25 points, the most ever in a single quarter of a finals game. The game would end on a pair of Kareem free throws, following a controversial foul call against Laimbeer. Karma, some would say, for all the fouls he got away with in years prior. The Pistons would lose Game 7 as Isiah watched most of the second half from the sidelines. In light of that effort and that heartbreak, how can you watch the Pistons celebrate in '89 and not feel, if only for a minute, that they deserved it? They didn't cheat. They didn't cheat the rules, they didn't cheat the game, and they didn't cheat themselves. They earned every bit of what they achieved. The 1989 Detroit Pistons were willing to do whatever it took, at whatever cost. Listen to the way Laimbeer talks about their approach. He sounds like Sun Tzu. Break the spirit of their leader, and you'll break the spirit of their unit. You couldn't come up with something that the Pistons didn't already have an answer for. And there have been few teams since that can boast a deeper, more versatile roster.
Okay.
Their masterful play, their inspired defense, their remarkable selflessness, and their ability to win games without scoring a layup make the Bad Boys the greatest basketball team of all time.
Oof.
They were willing to do whatever it took. And what it took was to become the villains.
Wow. Chat, we gotta talk about this film for sure, bro. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Going into the video, I truly did not like the Bad Boy Pistons at all. And then towards the end, once I started to really genuinely realize what they went through and what they had to go through going into the finals, the injuries, the players coming in, the people that don't want to play their roles, I started to think like, okay, and they genuinely play as a team. So I don't know. I like them a little bit more, but I just can't respect the fact that they do hurt people though. It doesn't beat the fact that they genuinely used to hurt NBA players, man. But let me know down below what you guys think. I kind of might change my mind though, cause I don't know. I don't know if I can change my mind like I'm saying it, but I don't know. Maybe I will. I'm talking a lot, but. This is the end of the video, chat, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man, and, recommend me some more stuff to react to, but, with that being said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. I said that already? Well, yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, man, and I'll catch you next time. Yes, sir.